There's a book by Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. The book never mentions Zeta males, yet it reads like a manifesto for them. Zetas aren't halos and harps. They're the rogue ones who dismantle the devil's own tricks. They're rebels, defiant spirits who stare fear in the face and snatch its power for themselves. You, as a Zeta, reject the world's scripted narratives. You refuse to drift, to bow, or to fade. You're the darker echo of the Sigma, unyielding, unapologetic, unbreakable. This is not an audiobook. It's a bone-deep excavation of Zeta's psychology. Welcome to the inner war. Here, you won't just outwit the devil, you'll make him question his own lies. If you heard about the book, get ready for a fresh perspective. And if you never heard of it, get ready to find out the deeper motivation of Zeta's power. Chapter 1. Zeta's Invisible War. Do you sense how every ad, every post, every passing comment chips away at your purpose? Studies on social comparison by Festinger said in 1954 that measuring yourself against others triggers anxiety and lower one's confidence on oneself. This is the devil's playground, where your self-esteem is the prize. He waits for you to drift, to lose sight of your own path. Ever feel an anchor dragging through your soul when you try to move forward? That weight isn't laziness. It's sabotage. Napoleon Hill called it the devil, but don't picture horns and pitchforks. This is the enemy within, a cunning manipulator feeding you doubt like slow poison. In Outwitting the Devil, Hill unearthed a chilling truth. We're prisoners of our own compromised minds. Think of society's machinery, algorithms hijacking your focus, media amplifying insecurities, a culture that profits from your distraction. The devil thrives here. It weaponizes your fear of irrelevance, whispering you'll fail when you dream. They'll laugh when you stand apart. Seneca saw this 2,000 years ago. We suffer more in imagination than reality, yet we let illusions strangle our potential. Society is the devil's playground. Most of them are possessed. It floods your mind with noise until you forget your purpose. Drifting becomes your jailer. Hill's breakthrough. The devil confessed its weakness. It can't touch those with unwavering direction. Your first strike. Silence the chaos. Detach. Ask, whose voice is this? Mine or theirs? Machiavelli knew the lion cannot protect himself from traps, but the fox avoids them. Be both. Spot the traps, the endless scroll, the manufactured outrage, and walk away. Your mind is a fortress. Stop letting invaders scale the walls. Chapter 2. When fear becomes your jailer. Fear is the devil's hammer, striking when you stand on the edge of action, ready to leap. Why does the devil wield it so well? Studies on the fear response by Ledoux in 1996 show that when the amygdala lights up, rational thought takes a back seat. He hijacks your mind, turning possibility into paralysis. Nietzsche discovered that which does not kill us makes us stronger, yet the devil twists this, making you believe that any risk could be your undoing. Ever tasted fear? Not the rush before a jump, but the slow dread that sits in your gut like cold iron. That's the devil's favorite tool. Napoleon Hill didn't just theorize this. He extracted the confession. Fear isn't an accident. It's a strategy. Picture society's whispers. You're not hustling enough. Look how far behind you are. Social media isn't just distraction. It's a fear factory. Zetas reject this. Algorithms feed you curated nightmares of others' success, amplifying your insecurity. Nietzsche saw it. He who fights monsters must see to it that he does not become a monster. But what if you're fed to the monster daily? For the Zeta, the man who rejects the herd, this is war. Society weaponizes FOMO, scarcity, and comparison to keep you anxious and compliant. Fear is the scaffolding they build your prison with. Hill's revelation: the devil flees from those who interrogate their fear. Ask, what's the worst that can happen? And if it does, can I endure it? Marcus Aurelius wrote, in the dust of battle, objective judgment, now, at this very moment, unselfish action, now, willing acceptance. Now, break fear's spell by grounding yourself in the now, not in projections, not in illusions. The Zeta doesn't silence fear. He uses it. Every tremor is intelligence. Every doubt is a map. Your move. Name the fear, write it down. Then ask, who benefits if I obey this? If the answer is not me, you've spotted the enemy. Chapter 3. When drift becomes the devil's whisper. Do you catch yourself lost in endless options, unable to choose a single path? You feel the pull of every direction, and yet you go nowhere. Drift is the devil's lullaby, a soft voice telling you that indecision is safer than commitment. What makes him so cunning? Research on choice overload by Iyengar and Lepper found in 2000 that more options can actually paralyze us, leading to regret and inaction. This paralysis is his trap, a fog that blurs your purpose until you forget where you started. Ever wake up and realize months vanished? No progress, no fire, just existing. That's drift, not laziness, a surrender. Napoleon Hill called it the devil's greatest trap. The majority of people go through life without definite aim, like ships without rudders. Society wants you adrift. Why? A drifting man is controllable. He chases trends, absorbs opinions, and kneels to the algorithm's dopamine drip. Scrolling mindlessly, that's drift. Binge watching just to pass time. Nothing but adrift. Drift is the quicksand swallowing your purpose. Seneca warned. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. For the Zeta, the man who builds his own path, drift is non-existent. Society bombards you with distractions designed to fragment your focus. Notifications, breaking news, endless feeds, all engineered to keep you reacting, not acting. Sun Tzu's wisdom cuts deep here. Victorious warriors win first, and then go to war. The drifting man never wins first. He's already lost. Chapter 4. Zeta's purpose is unbreakable. Ever felt like a compass needle spinning wildly, north shifting daily? That's life without purpose. Napoleon Hill's devil trembled before one thing: definiteness of purpose. Not goals, not wishes. Purpose, the iron core that bends reality. Society hates purpose. Why? A man with purpose is a loose cannon. Algorithms can't hijack him. Trends can't seduce him. He moves like a shark through noise, unswayed, untouchable. Marcus Aurelius carved his purpose in stone. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. The Zeta purpose isn't a plan, it's identity. Society sells you templates. Hustle, monetize, optimize. Machiavelli warned, the lion cannot defend himself against snares, but the fox avoids them. Your purpose. Be both. See traps, distractions, false urgency, and walk past them. 5. When your inner critic becomes the devil's voice. Napoleon Hill called it living by proxy, letting others dictate your worth. Society wants your compliance. Think of social media, a digital stage where you perform for strangers. Every like is a hit of validation, every share, a shot of relevance. But Marcus Aurelius saw the trap. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. The man who answers only to himself. This is seduction disguised as survival. Society pathologizes solitude. It calls independence arrogance and self-trust delusion. Why? A man who needs no approval is uncontrollable. Epictetus sliced through this 2,000 years ago. If you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid. Stop feeding the mirror. Do you hear that ceaseless commentary in your head telling you you're inadequate? You know the one. It whispers you'll never measure up. This inner critic is the devil's echo, looping every doubt until you believe it as truth. What gives him this power? Aaron T. Beck discovered in 1976 that cognitive distortions warp reality, turning small setbacks into catastrophic failures. He magnifies your flaws, making every mistake a mountain you cannot climb. That distorted voice convinces you that growth is impossible and that retreat is safer. They sit in judgment, replaying every misstep like a broken record. Epictetus said, "You're not disturbed by events. You're disturbed by your judgments about them. When you detach from those judgments, the devil loses his script. You've let that voice hold the reins, steering you away from progress. But you aren't powerless. You're the observer of your thoughts. So ask yourself, will you accept every verdict it hands down? Or will you challenge each accusation? Pull back the curtain on its lies, and you'll find freedom. The devil can't rule a mind that questions its own tyranny." Chapter 6. When comfort becomes the devil's cage. Have you ever felt a strange safety in staying put? Like the world outside your bubble is too wild to face. You know that pull. It lulls you into routine, convinces you that risk isn't worth the reward. Comfort is the devil's velvet trap, soft on the surface, but tight as a noose. Why does he dress danger as safety? Research on status quo bias by Samuelson and Zeckhauser discovered in 1988 that we favor what's familiar. Even when change leads to growth, he chains you to inertia, whispering that the known discomfort of today is less daunting than the unknown of tomorrow. They sit watching you circle that same old path, day after day, while your purpose waits at the edge of comfort. Zeno of Citium taught that progress comes from struggle. Without challenge, you remain frozen. Zetas are born to move mountains, not to admire them from afar. You've let the soft voice tell you it's okay to stand still, but you're not meant for stillness. You're meant to climb. So ask yourself, will you trade a life half-lived for a warm chair? Or will you break those velvet chains, embrace the cold wind of uncertainty, and watch how you outgrow the devil's cage? He cannot hold a spirit that craves the summit. Chapter 7. The Grip of the Herd. Ever feel the pressure to nod along, to swallow opinions that taste like ash? That's negative influence, not overt coercion, but a slow seep. Napoleon Hill warned, wrong thinking is contagious. Society doesn't just want you in the tribe, it demands you mimic its sickness. Think of community today. Algorithms herd you into echo chambers. News cycles breed groupthink. Social media rewards conformity with shares and likes. Nietzsche called it herd morality, sacrificing truth on the altar of belonging. You're not joining a community, you're enlisting in intellectual cannibalism. To the Zeta, this is irrelevant. He laughs at the group, let alone their thinking. Society weaponizes belonging to colonize your mind. It pathologizes dissent as divisive and critical thought as cynicism. Seneca saw the rot. The crowd is the mother of ignorance. Why? A mind that questions is a mind they can't control. Sun Tzu's war wisdom applies. Appear weak when you are strong. Play dead. Observe. Let them think you've assimilated, but internally, detach. Epictetus gave the formula. We control our reason, but not what happens outside it. Your shield. Mental sovereignty. Chapter 8. When distraction becomes the devil's playground. Do you feel pulled in 100 directions at once? Your focus slipping through your fingers? You know the itch. It's the ping of a new notification, the lure of a fresh headline. Distraction is the devil's playground, where your attention is the toy he tosses and catches at will. How does he wield this so effortlessly? Studies on attention residue by Leroy discovered in 2009 that every unfinished task leaves cognitive bits behind, draining your mental energy. He scatters your mind, turning sharp intent into scattered thoughts and shallow work. They watch you, flit from one tab to the next, convinced that multitasking is progress. But Zetas reject this. Marcus Aurelius urged you to be constant in the process, yet the devil drowns you in a sea of stimuli until you forget what you set out to do. You've chased every shiny link, lost hours to aimless scrolling, but you're not a victim. You're the guardian of your own mind. So ask yourself, will you let the noise dictate your actions? or will you reclaim your focus? He cannot breach a fortress built on disciplined attention. Chapter 9. When procrastination becomes the devil's ally. Have you ever promised yourself just 5 more minutes, then watched the day slip away? You feel that tug, the subtle excuse that tomorrow will be kinder. Procrastination is the devil's cunning accomplice, whispering that delay is harmless. But Zetas reject. They'll sleep tomorrow, all day, finishing every job today. Why does the devil cloak in harmlessness? Piers Steele's meta-analysis discovered in 2007 that procrastination affects nearly 20% of adults, and it's driven more by emotion than time management. But this is higher these days, so much so, 80% teenagers procrastinate, even going to toilet. He trades your future victories for fleeting relief, convincing you that the present discomfort outweighs long-term gain. But a Zeta pity on these, he don't even feel pull of those useless strings. They sit smugly as deadlines pass, their work untouched, purpose eroded. Seneca urged begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life. Yet the devil uses your own hesitation to steal your tomorrow. You've let that soft voice promise extra comfort, while your goals wait in the wings. But you're not bound by delay. You're the architect of your momentum. So ask yourself, will you let that lie dictate your legacy, or will you act now? He cannot endure action. He flees before decisive movement. Chapter 10. When external influence becomes the devil's mask. Have you noticed how easy it is to adopt someone else's opinion as your own, as if you're wearing their mask? You feel that nudge. It comes from friends, influencers, even strangers online. This borrowed belief is the devil's disguise, hiding your true self behind a facade. Why is he so seamless? Solomon Asch's conformity experiments discovered in 1951 that individuals will agree with an incorrect majority up to 37% of the time, just to fit in. He turns your mind into a crowd, amplifying every whisper into a chorus that drowns your inner voice. But the Zeta actively dismiss the herd mentality. They nod along to the loudest opinion, believing consensus is wisdom. Machiavelli taught that power lies in perception. By shaping what you see as normal, the devil controls your vision. Yet you have the right to question the crowd. You've echoed ideas that weren't yours, lost in the echo chamber's swirl. But you're not a puppet. You're the author of your perspective. So ask yourself, will you let the crowd write your script, or will you tear off the mask and speak your truth? He cannot sustain a narrative that you refuse to narrate. Chapter 11. When scarcity becomes the devil's famine. Have you ever felt that hollow ache telling you there's never enough? Time, resources, opportunities? You know the pinch. It makes you clutch what little you have and hoard every crumb. Scarcity is the devil's famine, starving your creativity and breeding desperation. What fuels his feast? Robert Cialdini found in 1984 that scarcity messages trigger panic buying and poor decisions. He distorts your view, convincing you that zero-sum rules apply and that any gain by another is your loss. This famine mentality turns allies into rivals and vision into survival mode. They count every grain of rice, afraid to invest in growth. Marcus Aurelius reminded you that the universe's change, life is opinion about it. Yet the devil traps you in a narrow lens, reducing abundance to lack. When you see the world as infinite, his famine loses its power. You've tightened your grip on potential, fearing emptiness. But you're not condemned to scarcity. You're the steward of possibility. So ask yourself, will you let the devil starve your ambition, or will you plant seeds of abundance? He cannot thrive where generosity and abundance flow. Chapter 12. Why Zeta is devil's biggest enemy. Do you feel that surge when you finally bend your will to the task and taste true control? You know that fire. It's the moment you've wrestled with every whisper of doubt and won. This mastery is the devil's greatest enemy, because it forces you to break yourself and bleed out your true potential. How does he fight back? Viktor Frankl found in 1946 that meaning and purpose can transform suffering into strength. He poisons your drive with complacency and half measures, whispering that perfect discipline is impossible. So why even try? That voice twists your small wins into fleeting highs, hiding the bigger victory behind the smoke. They chase perfection in distractions, mistaking busy work for growth. Epictetus urged you to first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. When you align action with intention, you break the devil's final chain. You've tasted fragments of mastery, but stopped before the summit, afraid the peak would demand more. Yet you're not bound by hesitation. You're the architect of your own excellence. So ask yourself, will you let the devil steal your triumph with doubts about your worth, or will you claim every ounce of your power? He cannot stand when your mastery shines unbroken. Now watch the next video of mine for self-criticism and self-destruct yourself. Thanks for watching.